You guys are ready to begin. I'm Murer, and I'm a new brand management intern here at the Richards Group. I'll be working on the HEB account as well as the PODS account under Derek Darst. Today, I want to tell you a little more about myself. I want to tell you about an organization that actually changed my life, and then of course at the end, I'll save time for your questions and your critique. To begin, I grew up in a small town called Rochester, Illinois. Illinois is known as the land of corn, and Rochester is no different. You can see a cornfield from anywhere you are in Rochester, and you can also see a friendly family. My family and I nicknamed Rochester the Village because we knew everyone with a population of 3,500. I was lucky not only to grow up in a safe, small town, but to grow up in a loving home with an amazing family. That's my older brother, Alex. He's my best friend. We are so different. Alex is extremely laid back and doesn't really see value in a well-planned schedule. But he can make you laugh no matter what. I, on the other hand, love my planner, think to-do lists are great, and think organization is the best strategy. Alex and I complement each other well, and that I was able to help him organize his resume, to apply for law school, and I've helped him to move into every dorm, house, or apartment he's ever lived in. Alex, on the other hand, has been my greatest confidant and my biggest supporter. My dad is the hardest worker I'll ever know. He's taught me so much about a strong work ethic and to give absolutely everything my all. My mom is the strongest person I know. She's taught me so much about kindness and compassion. Every day I think, if you're half the person Liz Murer is, you're doing okay. My parents and brother are my biggest cheerleaders, my best supporters, and my greatest role models. As you can see, my family is extremely important to me. It made the transition to SMU very hard as I left my family in the land of corn and I headed for the Lone Star State. They were so far away and I missed them terribly. I soon found my second home at SMU. I joined a sorority and there I found my second family. These are the two most important things you should know about me. You should know that I value my family so much, and you should know that I'm a sorority girl. You may be very surprised to hear I want to tell you about being in a sorority. This is what you may be picturing when you think of a sorority girl. I know the stereotypes. You may think sorority girls just care about the matching t-shirts and the fun formals. But today, I want to tell you that a sorority is about making you into the best person you can be. A sorority is about supporting each other no matter what and being a member of a community greater than yourself. In advertising, we often see consumers get so wrapped up in everything but the product. They hear things on social media, they hear reputations, and they even care about the packaging when all we want to do as advertisers is say, just try the product. Once you experience it, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's what I want to do today. I want to take away the stereotypes you've heard, take away what you've seen with the girls in the matching bows and t-shirts, and show you what's underneath. Show you what I've experienced as a sorority girl and why it means so much to me. This is not what it means to be a sorority girl. This is not what it means to be a sorority girl. And neither is this. A sorority girl actually is a philanthropist. My sorority has raised over $200,000 for our philanthropy Genesis Women's Shelter in just 7 years. Every year we host an event called Alpha Chi Couture. It's a fashion show that fundraises for our philanthropy. Needless to say, my parents have attended every single event. A sorority girl is an accountant. As chapter president, I manage an internal budget of over $376,000. I approve every invoice that comes in our door, and this morning before work I was even writing checks. A sorority girl is a doctor. I have served as sober monitor for the past 2 years at all of our social events. This past formal, my ultra-queasy stomach was put to the ultimate test. I had removed broken shards of glass from one of my sister's bloody foot. A sorority girl is a psychologist. I have been humbled to be a confidant and supporter for sisters as they deal with serious things such as severe anxiety and eating disorders. A sorority girl is a bodyguard. As I mentioned, I've been sober monitor for many events. I've seen interesting things and have helped keep unwanted guests out of our formals. I worked with Dallas Police Department and our security as drunk, old men, like way past college old, try to come into sorority formals. But most importantly, a sorority girl is a member of a community. She's a part of something bigger than herself. She's a part of a second family that supports you no matter what. As I went through the recruitment process, I can honestly say I didn't know what it meant to be a sorority girl. I thought I would join, I would wear the matching t-shirts, and I would have so many fun formals to go to. I even remember calling my brother and I said, one day maybe I'll run for some kind of leadership. But I didn't see that as a foreshadowing for the many roles I would take in Alpha Chi. I currently serve in my favorite and most challenging position as chapter president. I've learned so much about time management and organization. I've learned to better communicate with my peers, my chapter advisors, and the SMU community, including faculty members. I've learned to lead my peers, including my best friends and roommates. But I've learned a lot more than those resume building skills. I've learned about compassion and tolerance. I've learned to be a part of a community that's bigger than myself. I've learned to support my sisters absolutely no matter what, and I've learned that through their example. I can honestly say that I've helped my sisters in a lot of ways. I've been humbled to tell you about experiences when I've gotten to help them, but today I want to tell you about an experience when my sorority stood behind me and helped me in one of my greatest times of need. I recognize that the topic I'm about to discuss is sensitive, but I'm comfortable sharing it with you. I want you to get to better know me, and I also want you to know that I'm comfortable if you have questions at the end, or if you'd like to discuss it with me later. On January 21st of this past year, I was officially installed as chapter president. I stood in front of 170 women, and I promised them I would be there for them no matter what. I would support them through the good and the bad, the thick and the thin. On January 24th, 3 days after I was installed as chapter president, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. My mom has multiple myeloma, which is a cancer of the blood. It weakens your bones, making them so prone to breaks that if I were to hug my mother too hard, I could break her ribs. I found this out as I was on my way to Arlington for an all-Texas executive board retreat. The other member in the car really thought I should turn around and go back to SMU for the weekend. I can't say why, but I wanted to continue to the retreat, and I'm so glad I did. It was the first of many weekends where I saw my sisters would support me and be there for me throughout this terrible time. The first person I told was my chapter advisor. She engulfed me in a huge hug, and she told me that she'd be there for me throughout this, that she'd be my new aunt and was my family in Texas as my own family struggled in Illinois. She offered me her home if I needed a weekend away, a home-cooked meal, or time with her own family. Before realizing my mom had been in her own sorority, my chapter advisor offered to initiate my mother as an honorary alum. My chapter advisor saw that the sorority would be a second family for me, that the sorority would take care of me when my own mother could not. That night, those 13 women, my executive board, sat around me in my tiny hotel room as I told them what I'd learned earlier, that my mother has cancer. They cried with me, and then they engulfed me in the biggest group hug that I think has ever existed. Each girl offered to take on more roles and responsibilities if it meant that I could go home and see my mom more. They stayed up with me all night, and they told me stories to make me laugh. They were even there as I fell asleep. This is only one weekend of stories when this sorority has held me up when alone I could not stand, when they've been there for me as my greatest supporters. When I came back, my roommate offered to cut off her hair from my mom's wig. My best friend offered to donate blood for my mom's transplant. My recruitment team sent my mom a fruit basket. I can't even begin to count the bouquets of flowers, the stacks of cards, and the pounds of chocolate that my sisters have given to me. All 170 wanted to do anything that they could to make this terrible situation just a little better. This past April, SMU hosted Relay for Life. For those of you who don't know, it's an event by the American Cancer Society, and it's a fundraiser that you raise awareness for cancer, and obviously money, as you walk 12 hours around laps on the boulevard, and you show that one day there will be an end for this terrible thing called cancer. My Relay for Life chair came to me and said this year she was motivated and this would be the best team Alpha Chi has ever had. My mom's situation motivated me to be a top 10 individual fundraiser, but I was way more proud that it motivated my sisters to be a top 10 fundraising team. It was yet another tangible way that I could show my sisters were there for me, that I knew they were fighting to end cancer, but most importantly, they were fighting for my family. At the beginning of this presentation, I mentioned you may think that a sorority is all about fun formals and cute t-shirts. You're right, I go to a ton of formals. But I don't go just to have fun, I go to serve as sober monitor. It's not always fun to check in all 170 women out in the cold as they and their dates get on the bus. But I assure you that I do it to keep them safe and make sure our events run smoothly. You'd also be right if you thought I have a bunch of matching t-shirts. But you may not have known that all 170 of those women has a shirt that says Alpha Chi for Life on the front with my mom's name on the back. It was yet another way to show that they were supporting me no matter what. It was a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society, and here's a picture of my mom and I in the shirt. I told you I wanted to break down the stereotypes, to show you what was underneath the wrapping and what you've seen of a sorority, to show you it's not all about the matching t-shirts and the big bows, but it's about what's underneath. That experiencing a sorority means being the best person you can be. It means being a part of a community that supports you and becomes your second family, that is there for you no matter what. I hope today I was able to tell you why I'm so insanely proud to be a sorority girl. To tell you that I can never thank the women who have given me so much support. I know that I have spent countless hours in meetings and sent thousands of emails and given up numerous weekends to this sorority, but I can never thank those women for what they have done for me. I would like to note that my mother is doing just fine. While there's no known cure for multiple myeloma, she is currently undergoing chemotherapy and will have a transplant at the end of this summer. Just so you know, the doctor cleared her to travel for 2 weeks in Europe, and she's in Italy with my dad and brother right now. Every day they send me pictures of the gelato they're eating and all the fun things they're doing, so I know that she'll be okay. I want to thank you all so much for listening to my presentation. I'll now take any questions you may have, and then I would love to hear all of your critiques. Do y'all have any questions?
How long is her chemo going to go for?
She actually just got it extended. It was supposed to finish before she went to Europe, but it's not working as well as they thought it would. So when she comes back, she'll continue with chemo. She has one more round, and then she'll get the transplant, and then in a few more years, she'll go back to chemo.
Okay.
Do y'all have any other questions? Okay.
I would like to say you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed the presentation. Really quite rare for a first intern presentation to convey such an emotional story and really connect with an audience. I think you did a great job of doing that.
Thank you.
I also usually see in a first presentation that people are really nervous, which you have a right to be nervous, especially talking about something that sensitive. But sometimes that plays out in presentation mistakes, like looking at the screen instead of looking at the audience, talking too fast. You didn't do any of that. I thought that was great. You really connected with the folks in the room. You made eye contact. You spoke in a storytelling type of a voice, and so I thought it was fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very confident coming across, you know, and I wouldn't sit there and say, this is your first presentation to us, but yeah, really good job. Really, really good job.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and you made us laugh, you made us engage, you know, the whole thing. So, really
I actually like the pauses, like when you stopped to drink water, I was like, what is she going to say?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, it's very good.
Well, thank you.
Can't wait to see the next one.
I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good job.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
You said it well. Yeah, very
Nice
good
job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how.
You just press the button. There.